I'm speaking with Gary Smith, the director of the Lake Placid Film Festival. Thanks for coming in, Gary.
Paul, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
The Lake Placid Film Festival is celebrating 21 years.
21 years.
And you are showing 21 feature films plus 2. So that's
correct.
23.
23 film.
What's a film you're excited about showing?
There are a number this year, actually, but one of the ones I'm very excited about is called The Automat. And it is the story of the horn and hard art automats in New York. It's narrated principally by Mel Brooks, which is hilarious. And we have Paul Hardart, who's one of the family members that owned that chain, that will be with us to introduce the film and to do a Q&A afterwards. But almost everybody is in that film, from Cole and Powell, everybody who really was touched by horn and hard art over the years.
There was nothing like the coffee at the Automat.
Right, the silverware. Here come the actors.
And in the trailer, it's great to hear Mel Brooks singing again. I remember when he sang the title song to the 1977 film High Anxiety, so that's going to add a lot. I know that's an original song that he composed for the film.
From a silver dolphin spout, the coffee poured right out. Not to mention, at the end, a little spurt of cream.
And this is really a slice of life that some people remember very well, and some people have never experienced an automat.
That's absolutely true, and but you'll feel like you know it, and you'll feel like it's yours when it's through. Like I grew up in the Midwest, I had never heard of horn and hard art or automats, and we didn't have them, but every New Yorker knows them. And it was a thrill and a treat and a trip into the city for so many thousands and thousands of people. And that's captured so well in the film.
Oh, well, that sounds like a wonderful documentary. You have a lot of great documentaries.
We have a lot of great documentaries.
One is called Turn Every Page.
Turn Every Page is particularly significant to me also because that is a documentary on Robert Caro and the research that he's conducted. He dedicated his life really to volumes on Lyndon Johnson and the study and identification of power and what power is and what power does. And this is the research. Turn Every Page is just him saying that you need to read everything because then the facts pop out at you. And they're intriguing stories.
And speaking of great stories, I know that some of the stories that you have on the big screen in Lake Placid come from people who live very close to home. We have some wonderful storytellers right in our area, don't we?
And we do. One of the ones I'm looking most forward to is a film by Mike Hansen. Mike has done one called Shades Inside the Blue Line. And it really is a study of race relations inside the park, inside the Adirondack Park.
The reality of talking about race, even when it's hard, is black folks don't really have that choice.
It really interviews a number of people who have made such a great impact on this area and really uses the backdrop of this beautiful, beautiful part of the world in telling that story.
So right away there's a kind of racist or a racialized matrix that clamps down on the region that says who belongs and who doesn't.
Mike has done an amazing job as the director of this film. He will be with us to introduce it and to do a Q&A following, and he's also with us on a seminar called Film Production in the Adirondacks, where we're welcoming people up here to film movies. And Mike will be a part of that with us as well.
Michael Hansen is an independent producer, and he made this documentary as a labor of love. He also happens to be a producer and editor at Mountain Lake PBS, and we are very proud that he's sharing such a compelling story with the film festival audience. In addition to the newer movies, there's something very satisfying about watching a beautifully restored print of an older film.
this one is great fun. It's restored by a gentleman by the name of Mike Champlin. And Mike is bringing us one called Fly Low Jack and the Game. It's about a 40-minute film. It was done in 1927 by a local director. Marion Gleason was her name, in Rochester. She actually used the Rochester Players, which are still there as a little theater group, to play all the characters.
I happened to speak with Mike Champlin, and it's going to be a real treat to see him in person at the festival and have a chance to ask him questions. He's really going to tell the whole story of how Eastman Kodak had screenings of this comedy film, which was made by amateurs as a way to show the general public how easy it was for anyone to make movies with this 16mm equipment that was new in the 1920s. And that's what really gave birth to the whole concept of home movies. And we're still making home movies today. You know, we're putting them online, and for better or worse, because some of them are brilliant, some of the stuff that goes on YouTube, and some of it is downright scary. And speaking of scary, I like to be scared this time of year. It's October, we're close to Halloween. Is there going to be anything at the Lake Placid Film Festival that is spooky this year?
We have a really kind of a series of horror studies this year, conducted, 2 of them, by the Miskatonic Institute of Horror Studies. They're headquartered in Montreal, and they're with us. The executive director is here with us this year. We're doing a seminar on DIY horror. It's an inexpensive way for filmmakers to get started in this. One of the testaments to horror film will be a movie called Eradication. It too is done by a local filmmaker by the name of Daniel Bayer. And during the pandemic, actually during the COVID pandemic, he did a film in Lake Placid and its immediate environs about a pandemic or a plague that hit that actually transmuted the human species into almost a Walking Dead kind of thing. His wife was downstate working on a cure. He was in the Adirondacks in case she failed and got caught with it, got the disease. He would be up here able to maintain the human race.
The virus you're infected with has killed every other person who's come into contact with it. Everyone except you. It could be the key to saving us all.
I love you.
I love you too.
It's a fascinating story, and we'll be showing that really for everyone to see and discussing that film as well.
And speaking of the pandemic, I know that last year you had some protocol. You required mask wearing in the auditoriums, and everyone had to show proof of vaccination. What is the protocol this year?
Okay, this year we are going strictly again, as we did last year, by New York State protocol. And this year we are not checking vaccination certificates for people arriving at the venues. We are not requiring masks. We are urging anyone who is more comfortable wearing a mask to do so, but we are not requiring it this year.
Well, I know a lot of people are happy to get out there and to do in-person events. I know there's an emphasis this year on parties where people can meet filmmakers and ask them questions. And you also have some great seminars I saw online. There's a cinematographer's dialogue.
Dialogue with cinematographers. We have 4. I'll bet you the 4 of them have over 500 movies that we know many of. They will be projecting images and scenes on the screen and then dissecting those images to explain to these, many cases, budding filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers, these folks on how to craft these scenes, how to light them, what to do outside, what to do inside, what you do when it's 15 below zero, how you get your cameras to work. It will be fascinating, I think.
That's going to be such helpful information for anyone who wants to get into the film industry.
Amazing.
And you're appealing to sight and sound with the movies and also to taste with the Gala Dinner. What's going to be special about the Gala Dinner?
Actually, it's going to be a comedy review. We're bringing stand-up comics up from New York. We're doing a sit-down dinner with stand-up comedy sketches between courses.
Well, there's certainly a lot to look forward to this year, Gary. I'd like to thank you so much, you and your hardworking team, for all that you're doing to help put the North Country on the map when it comes to celebrating the art of the motion picture.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here. We thank you all for your support for the second year, and we'll certainly try to keep doing our job and keep this in Lake Placid, keep it in the North Country, and keep it strong.
Well, we're very happy to promote this festival. The festivities begin on October 20th, and the Lake Placid Film Festival is one of the major events produced by the organization Adirondack Film. To learn more about the festival, including ticket information and a list of all the films, seminars, and events, head to the website adirondackfilm.org.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.